So now we're going to do a best build order for a map in which you cannot directly take your Expo because it's not rocks, there's actually enemies in the base. I'll quickly show my mastery points again. Not really much is ever going to change for it. We are doing the Vermilion problem because it's a little, I'm going to say, it takes a little longer to clear this one than maybe like Chain of Ascension, which can be done pretty quick. But the basic idea for this one is going to be 2 Stargates as opposed to 1 Stargate. That's kind of the big thing that I do on this one. You're still going to focus on saturation, but I will, as opposed to before, which I would focus very, very heavily on making sure I get minerals right away. Because I'm going to do 2 Stargates, I'm actually going to do
insufficient minerals.
My gases. As soon as I hit 14 supply, I'm going to start worrying about making making my gases. Because basically you're almost at pretty much optimum harvesting when you're at 14 supply, right? So when I get a little bit more supply going, I'm going to go ahead and get both of my gases going. And that way I can get my gas income going as soon as possible. Because that's really what you're going to need for your carriers. Not for making the buildings, but for making the carriers. So I'm at 16 now. I'm going to start working about this. And I'm at 17. Go ahead and do this. Again, staying on top of everything is very important. Now that I've already gotten my 2 gases, I'll get my first Stargate. Come back to mine. Yeah, and this is for any map where you can't take your Expo immediately fast. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jess. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get another pylon. It's a little earlier than what normally would be done if you were just kind of going for basic build. But because carriers can take up so much of your supply, you basically want to get it done as soon as possible. What's going on, GC Cloud? How you doing?
Here's the receding lava has unearthed some crystals.
I'm just going to set a little video with that.
Workers will get them.
So right now I'm going to go ahead and get my fleet beacon.
Bringing a crystal to the stabilizer has bought them some time, but it will take more than time to heal this planet's wounds.
There are not enough minerals.
And again, just kind of keeping everything rallied over here. And again, because I'm going to be getting 2 carriers right away, getting extra supply is so vital right now.
Terry, our seismologist, who says seismic activity is increasing. That means lava.
And the other kind of cool thing about maps in which...
Doing the happy dance, doing the happy dance.
Thanks so much for the follow, I appreciate it. The other kind of cool thing about these kind of missions is that you don't really need to go any further on your minerals. You don't need to make any more probes right now because there's really no point. You're not going to gain anything by it.
Insufficient minerals.
So I'm going to go ahead and chrono that one out.
More minerals required.
And then I'll get one more carrier going.
I like to think the lava moves.
And then we're going to have both of those ready to go. So you can, on this one, just use Phoenix to deal with this first wave.
Don't listen to Terry.
We require additional pylons. We cannot warp there.
And carriers take such a long time that I wasn't really worried about getting that extra supply right away. But now that I have, I'm going to go and get the interceptors. And then right now I basically can take the next block. I would like to keep this fully saturated, so I'm going to make 1 extra probe and rally it over here. And then just slowly just leave them there. Got my carriers coming out real soon. Basically just going to rally them over here. Alright, I'm just going to stay on top of my carrier production.
Our research is complete.
I'll go ahead and make sure I grab both those crystals. And the one thing about Phoenix here is that you can just constantly
Indicate they've reached the 2-minute mark. Hopefully they start
just
working
move
faster.
him around a lot
A jolt
to
of
get the best
seismic
use out of
activity
everything.
rocks the surface of
So like right
Olivia
now,
Prime.
I'm just going to
The
drop
lava
that there. And I specifically switched, or I intentionally switched modes so that I could come back with this one. You only need 15 seconds between. So as long as you can do that, you're going to be fine. I got my carriers going. Gonna make sure, again, you're not rallying across in the meantime. You can get your heroes whenever you want. There's no real specific rush about getting them out as fast as possible.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy.
They aren't as important as that.
Looks like the lava has fully receded. Can the commander's workers make up for the lost time? I'm getting word the enemy forces are attacking the commander's workers.
Now, carriers
Let's
aren't
watch
necessarily
as
the best thing for clearing out
battle
some of these
erupts.
expansions, depending on what kind of enemy forces you're going up against.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy.
But again, at this point, all we're doing is just building carriers. One of the things that I'd like to mention is that you can get away with 4 Stargates worth of carrier production until you've gotten all of your upgrades. Once you finish your upgrade, you're going to have the extra gas needed to go ahead and get up to 6 Stargates. Now, the only reason I didn't make those Stargates right away is because I only have half the gas production as I would like to have, because I don't have the extra Nexus. But now that I've got that started, I'm going to go ahead and start taking care of that and make those actually finish right now.
Allies are engaged in battle.
So right now, I really want to get more gas production or more gas economy than anything else at the moment. So I am going to basically saturate my gases as soon as possible.
There are not enough minerals.
Deploying onto the front line. Hierarch.
So I am setting my rally point for my probes to the new Nexus, or the new minerals at the Nexus. But eventually you're going to need to switch that when between when the lava, or basically when the lava's coming up. You don't want to just set all your probes across the map for no reason. Right now I'm actually want to get more saturation, so I'm going to spend or just change all of my chronos to my Nexuses. So right now I'm going to set that rally point there so I can continue to make probes, but I won't lose them by them rallying across the map. Again, most important thing right now is the gas income, because that's the thing that you're limited by at the moment.
More minerals.
A molten salamander has emerged from the lava. Conservationists say they're endangered. But who's in danger now?
Oh, hello.
Looks like they're flying over the lava. That's a bold move with those lava spouts. They know about the lava spouts, right?
Now again, I show this build not because it's my favorite build, but because it's the easiest build. It can do the most damage. But again, not my favorite. It's an A move arc, and I'm never been the biggest fan of A move arcs.
Our allies are engaged in battle.
The one thing you do have to be worried about when you're going for carriers, especially up against Zerg, is Vipers. They can be pretty annoying.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy. There are not enough minerals.
And so basically every time that you make a new carrier, always think about how much supply you're at, because you don't really want to get supply blocked for too long. So you can always get the rest of the upgrades for your carriers, but you really only need the Fleet Beacon and then 2 Cybernetics. What I do like to get is a Forge. Oh yeah, Scourge suck. But usually if you have all of your your interceptors out, then you don't really have to worry about them as much. Okay, so now that I got full saturation there, I'm going to move both of the chronos to my upgrades. Those are the things going to take the longest time. I am going to make a couple extra probes here, just so that I can pick up the crystals without having to worry about anything.
More lava?
The easiest way to grab crystals is to send all of them, all of your probes,
You're desperate for attention.
to a first set, shift-click one away, set it to the next one, shift-click one away, and set it to the other one. And that way, that they'll all be exactly where you want them to be, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Make sure we don't lose these guys.
It looks like the salamander has resurfaced. If the commanders are going to do something, now just
And I will make
the time.
another set of
Upgrade complete.
2 stargates here. Nice job.
Our upgrade has finished.
We are hearing that the lava is receding, and the race to reactivate the stabilizer is back on.
So yeah, as long as you can get your interceptors out, you actually don't lose too many of your carriers from Scourge.
Carrier has arrived.
So I'm still working on upgrades, so I can't get your extra. I can't get the extra stargates just yet.
Your command.
Let me just go ahead over here. And so that's basically the idea. At this point, all I'm going to be doing now is just making more carriers. There's very little else to do. I do like to just kind of bring out the Arbiter suit. I find that that's probably one of the better things to do. And then because of that, I'm just going to get the protocol. He's just kind of working on whatever he wants to.
Speak, and you will be.
Again, this is more about showing off this specific build for Fenix. But he usually goes Goliaths, tanks, and Ravens. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do. He's doing Ghost this time because, you know, it's really, really good. But he was trying basically to do very little in the beginning just to show off what you can do with just Fenix by itself.
That the stabilizer has reached 50%. Workers are moving as fast as they can.
Our upgrade has finished.
And you really only need up to like
Have engaged the enemy.
2 different,
Our supplies.
Carrier has arrived.
oh, sorry, 3 sets of extra probes or SCVs or drones or whatever. Because everything else is kind of pointless at that point. You don't really need them. But I like to have, you know, at least 3.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy.
Again, I don't want to get supply locked, so I'm not going to do that.
That earthquake only signals one thing. Another lava surge is coming soon.
And so now that I've finished getting, or at least got the, last set of upgrades queued up, my goal now is to start utilizing all 6 of my stargates. I'm resetting the new rally points for everything to the actual places they spawned from, because I don't want to lose carriers by them just being out on the map, or trying to get across lava.
Carrier has arrived.
Again, 200 mineral, 200 gas is basically what you need.
As quickly as it surges, the lava recedes. Now it's up to the workers to reach those
Right now would be an
coastal
opportunity for you to
formations
use the
in
Select
time.
All Army hotkey to grab all your new carriers. But I make sure I don't use the Select All Army hotkey as much as possible. Yeah, doing a little teaching, doing a little bit of everything. What's going on, Jumba C0? C0? How you doing? Thanks for coming out to the stream. And so again, at this point, all I'm going to be doing is finishing the mission. I've got all my production set up. I've got full saturation everywhere I need it to be. And there's really nothing else to worry about. So yeah, scouts are a fantastic mineral dump. Do not get me wrong. Yeah, they're actually a really good mineral dump. Again, I'm just focusing on making carriers. That's all I'm going to do. It's the easiest A-move army. Again, I'm not saying this is my absolute favorite. Well, I can't say that scouts are garbage. Scouts have really good anti-ground armor, anti-ground attack. And they do pretty decent anti-air for armor, right?
A defensive drone online.
So they're not completely garbage. One of the things that is really tough about scouts is that you really need to make sure that you do pre-splits.
Will this finally be the big one?
What do you mean they have bad anti-ground?
Upgrade complete.
No, they have fantastic anti-ground and really good anti-air, but they only have good anti-ground against light units. Now, I'll make a scout. I'll show you.
The salamander has resurfaced. I normally don't get into me guys, but that thing looks angry.
Yeah, they have really good anti-ground against light. No, I'm serious.
It looks like the surge is over for now. But when the burning tides rise again, we'll be there.
I don't know why you're hating on scouts so much. They're good units. I'll show you. Yeah, 35 against light? That's huge.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy.
The only thing that's bad about scouts, if you had to pick something bad, is that they don't have necessarily the highest health, but they're good units. And then their armor, or their anti-air versus armored, is 34. That's still pretty good. And that's fine that they don't work for you, but they're good units. I'm not gonna say they're bad units. They are good units. The only thing that, again, you have to do when you're using scouts is pre-splits. Do not let them bump. Do not let them.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy.
Hear that? Oh, I thought I had the thing up. Anyways, but yeah, just make sure you pre-split, and that's the only thing you really need to worry about.
The firstborn have engaged the enemy. The enemy is attacking our probes.
I thought I clicked that. I'll go back right there in just a second. Got that.
The arbiters fly appear.
Yeah, if you put them on hold position, they do split. That's a thing that's been around for a long time. Yeah, scouts are not an A-move army like carriers.
The telltale rumbling has begun. I expect we'll be seeing
Well,
lava surge soon.
Pre-split implies that you're doing it before you have any FPS issues, right? I mean, it's before the fight starts, so that you don't. I play random, and I'm in Diamond.
Flames spread as the molten salamander resurfaces. Will the Dominion's
I don't know if you can
intervene
recall
or leave
SCVs.
this
Let me see if you
creature
can.
unchecked?
You definitely can't recall an SCV that has minerals in, but maybe it's something different. We're good.
Speak and you will be heard.
Yeah, you can't do it.
That surge is finally over with. Let's watch the commanders get back to work.
Isa Atu. York.
That is not possible. We are at maximum supply.
Hierarch.
Well, that's really good for you, Jumba. I'm very happy for you.
I hunger for battle.
The Dominion's allies are victorious. But was plundering Viridia's natural resources worth it?
Don't be so self-deprecating, my friend. Yeah, so this season, my plan is to pick a race. Probably Terran, maybe Protoss, because it's probably one of my least my least win rate and just go with that and probably try to get to high diamond, if not like low level masters. But I do a lot of co-op streams, so anyways, to kind of finish this up, the general idea, if you're going on a map to where you can't take your expo immediately fast because there's some sort of enemy encampment, then I usually try to go for 2 stargates as opposed to 1. Get my gases a lot faster, and then basically roll from there. Still working on the general idea of like 2 to 4 stargates before or while you're getting your upgrades. And then once you get that done, then you can move on to something else. Anyways, I'm Much5. Thanks so much for watching.